welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys from Africa. You know we love the Big C tribe. We love you in Canada. But Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave, on a beautiful March 15th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, this is a place in the world to be down south.
Yeah.
You know, we have that laid back, easy mentality. We don't worry about that fast pace you guys have in California.
Yeah.
We have turkeys crossing the road. We have deers in the woods.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Otherwise known as dinner showing up. When you guys talk about a fast food drive-in, you guys got food. You guys got food that does the drive-in for you. They walk right to the plate. Big C, is that what you're saying?
Well, you know, I had to slow down the day because there was a couple of geese crossing the road, but nobody else was coming. So I pulled over to help them out.
That's always funny. We appreciate that. I do want to say this segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C said you can drive a car or you can drive a Cadillac. Big C, in the world of sports and Hollywood entertainment, we know a lot of things are happening, whether it's golf and Tiger Woods back on top, NFL's making changes, Roger Federer. But we want to start just by paying some respect to the family, the Benson family. Tom Benson, owner of the New Orleans Pelicans, lost his battle today. And just want to get your thoughts on what he meant, not only to the world of sports, but to all the people in the region of the Big Easy. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you think of Tom Benson, Charlton, and what he has meant to that sports region of New Orleans. You know, he bought the team back in 1985. That's the New Orleans Saints. And, he's built this team into a franchise that competes.
Yeah.
For years, they were the Aints. No one cared about them, Charlton.
Yeah.
But Thomas Benson made the Saints a feel-good story. And especially after Katrina, a lot of people would have just deserted the region.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't. He rebuilt. His team stayed fast, and they became the backbone of that region where everyone had something to look forward to in sports.
Yeah.
And they went on and won the Super Bowl, Charlton. One of the greatest feel-good stories in sports. A region that was devastated by a natural disaster.
Yeah.
We had administration that didn't understand how to deal with these people because majority of them were minority.
Yeah.
So they were really left out and downtrodden.
Yeah.
But the Saints did not desert them, Charles.
No.
He also brought the Pelicans back to New Orleans.
Yeah.
He was one of only 3 owners in professional sports that owns an NFL team and an NBA team, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what he did and how many people he employed and how he felt that this community was important,
Yep.
And the team was just as important to the community, that he stayed. He built this team up. He brought a basketball team back in because it would help the economics of the community.
Yeah.
And give them something high to hope for, Charlton.
Yeah. And we know life is about living, and it's about being able to enjoy every opportunity in front of you. But there are a lot of times when you're a billionaire owner and people can buy up their franchises and they can take them across the country to another state, another city, and they don't think about what they leave behind. They leave behind people who needed those jobs. Those organizations, they really galvanize the city. People gather around each other for sports. There's more diversity around sports in an audience than any church in any political setting. We've seen that for the last few decades, Big C. So for someone who had 2 teams down in the region, Louisiana, and a lot of people love their sports, I just think that I want to just appreciate him for not up and leaving when so many other people would have done that. So again, our thoughts are to his family, and I know that he's done a lot to make a legacy of a lot of more happy people down there because they have something to do when it comes to work, and also teams that they can cheer on, Big C. So to the Benson family, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I do want to also touch base on some things that are happening in the world with our sports teams. And we know we were in the March Madness and Oklahoma got knocked out. We know the staple programs like UCLA, they're out. And teams are getting knocked off, it seems, because you have a chance to compete. And that's all people want, Big C, is a chance to compete. But I want to bring it to the NFL out here in the Bay Area, in Oakland. You know, Crabtree's gone. Nelson's in. Just give me your thoughts on what it means, because they were saying he was one of the best receivers in the league last year, but now he's out. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is Gruden, and Gruden's saying that players that don't buy into his mentality are going to be gone. And when you look at the Raiders' receiving core, they need leadership. I mean, Crabtree was an inside receiver. They signed Jordy Nelson, released by Green Bay. Now, Jordy Nelson, there's a concern about if he has any left in the tank. You know, Green Bay would have kept him around.
That's why they got rid of him. Yeah, you're right.
But if he was productive.
Yeah.
But, you know, Crabtree's gone. He's most likely going to sign elsewhere within the next day or two. And so now you got a receiving core where you have one burner.
Yeah.
And there's Cooper on the outside. So it's going to be easy to double him up.
Yeah.
They also signed Doug Martin, the former Tampa Bay running back.
Yeah.
So what does that say about beast mode?
Yep.
You know, are you going to run a two running back tandem? You know, you got to look at the moves that Gruden are making. And it's been proven in free agency that spending all the money doesn't get you an instant championship.
No.
You know, because I've looked at the past couple of Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
And they weren't built through free agency. They were built by draft and players that they kept around. But you go out and you spend a lot of money. It looks good right now this time of the year.
Yeah.
It has your friend, you know, Mel Kiper all confused.
Yeah.
You know, with his expertise on what teams should be doing.
Yep.
No one has consulted him about what make their team better and what their needs were.
No.
So he doesn't know what to do, and, you know, I might have to hide the moonshine because he catches a plane down here.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to look and see. But the Raiders right now are, you know, they released one of their defensive backs. Matter of fact, kid they just drafted last year in the first round.
I know. Yeah.
They released him.
Yep.
And, you know, Aldon Smith is gone, so they're making moves.
Yeah, they're making moves, and then Gruden, I know McKenzie was doing his thing, got the Raiders into the playoffs the year before last, some injuries with Carr and things have changed, and then we know that, I mean, I just think about it. What happened to the days of Al Davis when you had guys like Cliff Branch, and they wanted to beat people deep? Jordy Nelson not beating anybody deep, Big C. Outside of 10 yards, you can just backpedal on him, and that's why Aaron Rodgers didn't need him. Aaron Rodgers is not going to get rid of a receiver that can help him get back to the Super Bowl. But I know McKenzie has some relationships over in Green Bay, and maybe there's some inside things going on. But at least Crabtree could get you. He had good hands, and I know some people said, well, you know, maybe he was a prima donna and was more concerned with the other things outside of football. But who can't say that? You can say that about anybody. But the speed factor, they don't have a dual threat now unless they're going to bring in somebody else that can stress the defense, because you have Beast Mode, who's a good running back, should touch the ball 20 times a game, almost had 1,000 yards and really even played, which was, you know, just kind of asinine to me last year. But Joe Reel's out of there. But if you have, I mean, who's going to stress the field for the Raiders now, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, you got the young kid who they're expecting a lot of in Cooper. You know, but he has to hold on to the ball. There's times that he's letting balls slip through his fingers.
Yeah.
You know, that stabilizing force they had in Crabtree, they need a tight end is what they really need in Oakland.
Yeah.
You know, that's something they've been void of for a long time. And you know, their offensive line, Charlton, is going to have to go back and reassess themselves. They put a lot of money in that offensive line 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs, but all of a sudden they got complacent the next year after they had gotten paid.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they gave up a lot of sacks. Quarterbacks got hurt. You know, and Cooper was out several games, and Crabtree was that stabilizing force at the receiver.
He sure was.
Beast Mode had gotten suspended. So there was a lot of inner turmoil within the team.
Yeah.
Now, you got Gruden coming in. He's going to shake things up. Can't cut everybody.
Nope.
But he's going to shake things up. He said he wants his type of player.
Yeah.
we know what happened the last time he was coaching and his win percentage, so I'm concerned about the type of player he's looking for.
57 and 55, Big C. They want half of their wins, Big C. I mean, everybody can do what they want to do, but you take a team that tried to build on speed and a dominant run game, and now you just got slower at the wideout position. And I know everybody says, well, Gruden's a guy, he's going to build this championship team. He's never built the championship team anywhere. He inherited a great team from Dungy down there in Tampa Bay. So I know today we're kind of on the opposite side of the universe where things don't have to make sense to get paid. And again, we congratulate everybody who gets there. But I think when you look at McKenzie and you look at Gruden, one of them may not make the flight to Las Vegas because if the Raiders aren't going to be a playoff team in the next 2 years, then why do they need both of them to keep doing the same thing? And you know Gruden got the $100 million, so he's not going anywhere. Big C, should McKenzie be also looking at a way to find out if there's other openings elsewhere? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he would be the first to go. They're going to say that any move with this organization is not the fault of the head coach.
Yep.
They're going to look at the GM saying he's the one pulling the purse string.
Yep.
But it also comes down to Gruden sitting there saying, I'd like to look at this guy. I'd like to try to get this guy in. When you're sitting in the broadcast booth, you have a great overview of talent.
Yeah.
You get a chance to look at it. But you're only watching it play with the organization that it's in.
Yeah.
John Lynch, and I guess that's what Gruden is doing, trying to take a page from his book across the Bay Area in San Francisco.
Yeah.
With some of the moves that Lynch made in his rookie year as a general manager. But Gruden's, the head coach, and he's saying, hey, he's going to McKenzie. He said, this is what he did.
Yeah.
We already got the quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's make some of these moves.
Yep.
But you have to see how impactful those moves are. Now, you signed Doug Martin.
Yeah.
You already had a power back.
Yep.
In beast mode.
Beast mode, yeah.
It would have been more sensible to sign the back that the 49ers signed.
Yeah.
Jared McKinnon.
Yep.
A scat back to go along with beast mode.
Yeah.
He would have fit into that offense perfectly, creating those mismatches with linebackers. You have to put a safety on him to try to cover him.
Yeah.
Would have really opened up the passing game when you have a quarterback like Carr.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. So, everything's going to happen in time, but I don't know how you get better when you go slower and you go get a receiver that Green Bay got rid of because he couldn't stretch the field, Big C, and they just don't see that. But I think if you look at the West Coast and you look at what the Seattle Seahawks are doing, they're just rebuilding, period. They've gotten rid of a lot of talent. Now, even with Sherman going to the 49ers, he went to Stanford University. He's a kid out of Southern California. He was a great player before the Achilles injury. And maybe he'll come back strong. I think a lot of athletes get surgeries now, and the medicine or whatever they put is a lot better than it was, 2 decades ago. But with a guy that has an Achilles injury, will he even be the same? And when you look at San Francisco getting him, the thing I look at on the West Coast, Big C, the Rams look like the team to beat overnight just because their defense got better. We already know their offense can score. They just need to be more consistent, and I think they've made more moves than anyone on the West Coast. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, their defense was definitely strong last year, Charlton, and it's even stronger right now. You pick up 2 starting cornerbacks in a division that likes to throw the football. The Rams are playing against the 49ers. They brought in Garoppolo.
Yeah.
They're playing against Arizona, who has brought in Bradford.
Yep. One
also
start.
have Russell Wilson up in Seattle.
Yeah.
So you're in a division that's quarterback loaded.
Yeah.
So the first thing that the Rams did was upgrade their corners.
Yeah.
Their secondary got strong. They already have one of the best front fours in pro football.
Yeah.
So they strengthened that back end even more.
Yeah.
We saw what the receiving core did last year with the development of Jared Goff. Todd Gurley was back to his all-pro form.
Yeah.
So this is a team right now that has peaked the challenge. Even the best team in the East, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were preparing for more than anything else.
Yeah.
When you look at the passing attack and how Philadelphia beat them last year in Los Angeles,
yeah,
they felt that they needed to shore up their secondary.
Yeah.
And that was the first moves that they did this offseason, Charlton, was went out and got 2 all-pro corners.
Yeah. and I think they've come a long way. That game against Philadelphia, even though Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, that's a game the Rams could have won also. And I know it's about only one team's going to win. And going into the season next year, staying healthy is always important. I do want to ask your thoughts, and I know that, I mean, Google, I even heard, I love watching CNN, and I heard this guy named Paul Begala. He's been with Clinton. He's been with a lot of top politicians. He said people need to get their Google machine out and start Googling things. And so I want to thank the whole universe for bringing Google to the forefront like Big C has. But I look at, and again, we wish everybody well, but I think about Kirk Cousins. I think about the Vikings and what they've done to get themselves to be a relevant team again over the last 3 or 4 seasons. They don't realize they let go of a quarterback that got them to the NFC Championship game, and they brought in a guy that hasn't even won a playoff game. And not only did they do that, they brought him in with a losing record, 26-30 in one time. Not only that, they gave him 3 years guaranteed, $84 million. And he says to the NFL fans and the Minnesota fans, Kirk Cousins did, I have a good relationship with Mike Zimmer. Big C, of course you do. They gave you $84 million, but what have you won, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I would be in love with it. If that was the case, our relationship, I'd be in love with it.
Yeah.
$84 million, I
want half Eddie.
We can talk about some things.
Well, Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? $84 million for Tina Turner.
But, now it comes down to production, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got 3 years guaranteed.
Yep.
You got the top defense in the NFL. You had a couple of top receivers. You had 2 all-pro wide receivers.
Yeah.
You had a decent tight end.
Yeah.
You're going to get Darwin Cook back.
Yeah.
From a knee injury. McKinnon's gone.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do now? You got a good offensive line.
Yep.
That has, you think about the last 3 quarterbacks that have played in Minnesota. 2 of them, Charlton, have taken them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If not for a kick that went awry, Teddy Bridgewater was in advance.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't get the kick.
Yep.
That's happened a couple of times in Minnesota's history.
Yeah.
And you see what happened last year. Philadelphia just went on and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, anything less than making the Super Bowl is a failure.
Yeah.
With this kid, your cousin.
Well,
okay?
I tell you what, it's nice to borrow money from your cousins when you got $84 million for having a losing record. I tell you this story. I remember just over the years, going through school, and you take an exam. Anything under a D means you can't really play sports, but anything under an F means you may have to take the class over again. And I'm not even being flippant. I'm just saying, like Paul Begala and CNN said, Google it. Well, how do you stand in front of the Minnesota Vikings fans and say, I'm your answer, I'm the next Fran Tarkenton, when you have to put out your report card? And that report card says you got an F. Okay, that means 26-30 is an F on any test except for the NFL owners if you're a Caucasian quarterback. And that's a fact, Big C. So we wish everybody well. But for all the players that think you have to have a winning record in college and you got to have a winning record in the NFL to be valuable, all you got to do is be liked by somebody, but they got rid of a guy that's a proven winner, and he proved it to you because you did get to the NFC Championship game, but they let him go, and they let him go to a team that most likely will get back into the playoffs this year. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, it would be amazing if Denver ends up with a better record than the Vikings.
Yep.
And advances further in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That means that these fans have been smitten.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That all of a sudden you get rid of the guy who got you there last year.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have enough of a resume to fit. Everybody said, well, he had a minimum body of work. Now, I know your buddy Mel Kiper is dealing with the draft.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out what's the body of NFL work any of these top 5, 6 quarterbacks that they have slated for the draft.
Yeah.
What's their body of work?
I have no idea.
I got to think that anybody in the NFL that has taken a snap has a greater body of work than anybody that you projected coming out of college.
Out of college, yep.
He's played NFL speed, NFL talent.
Yeah.
Every down that he's taken a snap.
Yeah. And
so I'm always confused when these guys come along and say, well, he has a limited body of work, and you really can't judge it on that.
Yeah.
When you look at the wins he had with the Rams last year, he had 4 wins.
Yeah.
With the Rams last year at quarterback.
Yeah.
But look at the Rams' record.
Yeah. Yeah.
That season.
Yeah.
Okay. Then look at the wins he had with the Vikings.
Yeah.
In this past season. So I think the body of work that he put together in the games he had with the Rams.
Yep.
And the games he had with the Vikings, which totaled 17 wins over the last 2 years, okay?
Yeah.
And he was a part-time starter. He wasn't a full-time starter.
That's
so
true.
His winning percentage, just in the last 2 seasons, was much greater than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
If you think about it, he had 17 wins, Charlton.
Yeah.
And 7 losses.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to figure out the percentage. I don't have a calculator.
It's more than...
Otherwise, I'd Google it or something.
It's more than 40%. How about that?
Okay, but all these experts have to ask, is his winning percentage better than what Kirk Cousins was over the last 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you got to ask.
Yep. And that's the thing about what's going on in this world. Like Trump, who was that? Kellyanne Conway, the one that flies around the country on private airplanes on taxpayer money. She said it's alternative facts. And I think there's part of something going on in our society because we tell kids that when you work hard and you have the results, you have the numbers, that means you pass the test, you're supposed to pass the class and then you get rewarded for that. But now we're taking people that don't even have a winning percentage. And I heard one of the reporters, and they want to be nice because they want to ask them questions to get a second answer. He said, well, your winning percentage, how do you explain the winning percentage? You won 26 games. If you lost 30, you have 1 tie. Is that because of a lack of talent around you, or can you explain what that's from? Can you believe a softball question was asked by a reporter like that? It's a lack of talent. What else are you going to say, Big C?
He's blaming everybody around him right off the back. He gave me an escape.
Yeah.
Right off the back. He said, well, it wasn't you, and you're the quarterback. You're the guy. You're supposed to get all the credit when winning, but you don't supposed to take any of the blame when you're losing.
Yeah.
And so when I look at this, and here's a guy that he's had players, he's had talent around him, and he hasn't gotten the job done.
No.
But to go out and blame the guys that did get the $84 million, that they were the reason why you're not a winning quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go through half the NFL now.
Yeah.
And every quarterback that's starting on a losing team said, well, we understand it's not your fault.
Yeah.
All those guys that's on the team, they're not as good as you. But you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
And we know that everybody holds you in the highest esteem.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the rest of the guys are dispensable.
Well, I just think it's all fair and love and war, and that's part of what's happening in this world that we live in. I look at some of the free agent spending, and I'll even look at what's across the East Coast. When you look at the New York Giants and this thing about the Giants, the story about the Giants, they're more concerned with Antonio Beckham and some woman across, I guess, in Italy or wherever they were. With was it mozzarella cheese, Big C? They had the mozzarella cheese.
You know how when you order a pizza, and they send a little pack of mozzarella cheese. And I mean, I haven't learned how to open them, right yet. I'm always spilling some. So I'm always trying to scrape it up and get it on my cheese.
Yeah.
Normally I have a knife because I'm in the kitchen.
Yep.
And so I guess they didn't have a knife in the room, so a credit card was the next best thing.
Yeah, and I don't even know what's going on with that organization. We know the Giants have had a lot of issues. I mean, going back to Lawrence Taylor, who's a Hall of Famer, I think if guys need help, get them help. But also I know that some guys live a lifestyle that they don't want to show on TV because that's just not part of what they're going to do. They're not going to let you think that's really possible, that guys can go around and do that. But if you look at players that can come and go, Eli Manning, do you think he'll have a resurrection this year? Because I haven't seen a lot of talk about building that offensive line that made him look like a really poor quarterback last year. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they did make one move and get an offensive tackle. They got Soder from New England. They got a left offensive tackle. But that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Just because you have an offensive tackle doesn't mean that Eli Manning is going to be able to get the ball to an open receiver.
Yeah.
That's something that he did not demonstrate last season.
Yeah.
And it goes back to your cousin's question.
Yeah.
You don't blame the lack of talent around you, or you're going to blame yourself. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so sick, that you got to blame everybody else. That these quarterbacks
Yeah.
that you're paying $20 and $30 million can't be the problem with your organization.
No, I mean,
Because
yeah.
everybody else is, the receiver couldn't get loose.
Yeah.
The offensive tackle couldn't get the block.
Yep.
Because the quarterback had to hold the ball for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't get it downfield. He couldn't get it over the top of the coverage.
Yeah.
But, it's never his fault.
Yeah.
It's like everybody went apoplectic last year when Eli got benched.
Yeah.
You can't bench the Holy Grail.
Nope.
You're like, yes, you can. His brother got benched in Denver.
He sure did. Yeah.
They just passed it off that he had a foot problem.
Right. Right. Athlete's foot. He had an athlete's foot or something. They put a cast on his foot when he had a broken neck, supposedly, allegedly, Big Free. But we know that's all fair. And I know that teams will do what they want to do. But I think when I look at the Raiders and just getting rid of Crabtree, for whatever their reason, he could catch the ball. He had good hands. And, I mean, they don't want to put the blame on Carr, who's missed a lot of open passes. That's one thing you can look at. And I like Carr coming out of Fresno State, played at Bakersfield Christian down in Central California. A good athlete, good quarterback, but since that injury just hasn't been the same, we can say his offensive line, or maybe he's a little bit gun shy in the pocket once he's had that broken bone, and it hurt their season, Big C. And he's never really come back from that. But I don't think Crabtree's the reason that they did not have a good passing game. He can't throw the ball to himself and catch it at the same time. I know the 49ers are hyped on what they're doing with Garoppolo, and he's had, I think, 7 stars, and he has, I think, 5 interceptions and 7 stars. Okay, don't worry about the interceptions. But some of those games that they won it because they had a field goal kicker that made some kicks, Big C. But Dallas, we talk about teams that have a lot of expectation. The Dallas Cowboys were the darlings of the NFL when they had Prescott and Elliott just about 2 seasons ago. I think they were 13-3, and they brought in Tony Romo to finish out the game against Philadelphia, and it killed the momentum. They haven't been the same since. Does Dallas have enough to stay in contention with what the Eagles are doing, because the Eagles are loaded up again? See your thoughts.
Dallas, at this point where they're sitting at Charlton, they could fall down as low as 3rd in the East.
Oh, really?
This is the team that's not making any investments. You think about Dallas. In the last 2 seasons in free agencies, Dallas, there's only been 2 teams spent less than Dallas in free agency in the last 2 seasons. So when you talk about economic sharing across the board in the NFL, you're not getting it in Dallas. You don't see free agents lining up to go to Dallas because Jerry Jones is tight.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he was paying Romo the whole football.
Yeah.
But he didn't go out and get a backup quarterback for Prescott.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't go out and get anybody in the secondary that could back people up, Charlton.
No.
When Sean Lee goes down at linebacker, who's there to fill in for Sean Lee? No one.
Yeah.
So, when you look at this Dallas Cowboy team, and, he's penny pinching on players.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is constantly making moves, upgrading their franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Via trade and free agency, Charlton. They're doing it. They're not sitting pat on what they did last year by winning a Super Bowl. They're going out to get better.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones made no moves after going 13-3.
Yeah.
He stayed pat with that team.
Yeah, that's true.
And that team did not produce.
Yeah.
You lost Elliott out of the backfield. Dez Bryant was crying and hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith was hurt at tackle.
Yeah.
They played Atlanta and gave up a whole season's worth of sacks in a game one night.
They got it all out of the way, Big C. That's what they did. They got it all out of the way. But I think a lot of that, too, Big C, had to do, there's something about leadership at the top. And when Jerry Jones was threatening to sue everybody from Gazelle to the NFL, and your team, spent a lot of time in court with Ezekiel Elliott and his garbage, and hopefully he's matured enough to not have to do that anymore. But I think that took the direction and the chemistry of that team away. It's almost like in a relationship. I've heard some good old wise men tell me that you dance with the woman who brought you to the dance. And what Jerry Jones did is they went almost to the dance, and he started dancing with other people. And that took the focus off of the Cowboys and what they were doing well. And he was trying to get one of his friends and Romo another chance to throw a touchdown pass or whatever he was doing. But it did kill the chemistry of the Dallas Cowboys. And we don't know if they'll ever get it back. But to be a number 3 seed that was a Super Bowl favorite 2 years ago, that's a big fall to make. Big C, I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century, and they work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or even your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. So in the world of the NFL, we know it's a great game. We know everybody loves it, and teams are going to make their moves, but I still don't understand why Crabtree, who's been the best receiver for the Oakland Raiders over the last several seasons, he's no longer a part of that, but that's what happens in the world of sports. Big C, I got to get your thoughts on something that happened with a great athlete and Federer. And we think about football, and we think about basketball and baseball, and then tennis. We talk about the Williams sisters and how dominant that they've been. But I also know that in the world of sports in the United States, we don't appreciate sometimes people when they're really dominant at their game because they made it look so smooth. And now you look at Roger Federer. Last night moved into the semifinal of the Indian Wells tournament, and he's done it the last 2 years. He's trying to repeat. Does he get enough acclaim as being one of the best athletes in the universe? Big C, your thoughts?
He really doesn't. As much as he's dominated the game of tennis, Charlton, over the past decade, there's always someone who comes along for 1 or 2 years and have a decent run, and people have a tendency to forget about Federer.
Yeah.
But you know, when you think about his consistent dominance, he's won more majors than any male golfer in history.
Yeah.
And so that alone is a calling card.
Yep.
And to be where he is back in the semifinals down in Indian Wells, Charlton, after winning this tournament last year.
Yeah.
And he got there in ease last night.
Yeah.
And so what Roger Federer has done, I mean, he won Wimbledon last year. No one gave him a chance to win Wimbledon. He won the Australian Open.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is just a consummate professional when it comes to golf.
Yeah.
And when his history is written in this game, Charlton,
yeah,
you have to put him on the top of the mountain because his achievements are second to none.
Yeah, I think it's amazing what he's done over the years, and I know that sometimes maybe he just doesn't have the appeal that the nation loves tennis. I think women tend to be more celebrated than men because of the Williams sisters. Maybe if he had a twin, that would help. He may have to go find a twin, Big C, because if you're a twin, it helps. But he's done an awesome job just being a dominant tennis player. Really appreciate what he's done. And so we wish him nothing but the best. A lot of people love playing in Southern California. And I do want to think of another sport where individuals are very much celebrated, and they should be. I look at Tiger Woods, which I think is going to win the Masters this year. I think Tiger's is back, and he's working through his swing. And like someone mentioned what you've been mentioning for a long time, quit trying to hit home runs with the driver. Because if he can hit about at least 10 of the fairways, Big C, he's going to win. He's one of the best putters in the golf. He's one of the best putters in the golf universe, Tiger Woods is. Not only is he one of the best putters, his short game is good. His mentality is strong. He's not going to be broken by someone who's putting pressure on him. But he's right now where I thought it would take him a little bit longer to play the way he's playing now. He's always right now hanging around the top 2 or 3 in golf right now at the Arnie Palmer Open. But just give me your thoughts. There are so many pundits now saying what you've been bringing up the last, 7 months or so. Quit trying to hit home runs in the fairway, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think I got a call coming in from Vegas about this.
Answer it, Big C. Answer it.
They just made Tiger the favorite to win the Masters.
He's going to win the Masters.
They dropped him to 8-1.
Yeah, he's going to win.
He was 10-1 going into the day.
Yeah.
He's 8-1 now.
Yeah.
Now, you look at Tiger's accomplishments, and he's still not hitting all the fairways. At times he's going to have to reduce down that club because there was twice he was out on the hard path.
Yeah.
And that's what cost him today, Charlton.
Yeah.
He on the third, he had a double bogey.
Yeah.
That's losing 2 strokes.
Yeah.
He shot a 68.
Yeah.
If he had stayed in the fairway, Charlton, Tiger may have come in with a 66 today. Think about that. He would have led the tournament.
Yeah.
Instead of being second, he would have came in with a 66.
Yeah.
But when you think about how his game has expanded since he's come back on the tour, Charlton, and 2 consecutive tournaments that he's been in second place going into the second day. You really have to look at how Tiger's, and I guess this is the right word for it, starting to mature. You know, he is. You know, he's taking advice. You know, that's what Tiger never did before. Tiger's taking advice now. And, you know, you talk about his putting game. Tiger, you know, last Sunday, everyone was thinking about Selection Sunday. No, everybody was watching Tiger. He took all the luster away from the NCAA last week in Selection Sunday. He also did that again today, Charlton, in the first day of the tournament. He took all the luster away from the first day of the NCAA tournament. And you talked about his putting. Tiger hit a 71-foot putt today.
Wow.
And no one thinks about that. You know, no one ever talks about who finishes second in anything, okay?
No.
Everybody talked about Tiger finishing second last week. At Valspar. And everyone is talking about the first day of a tournament. Tiger hitting a 71-foot putt and shooting a 68.
Wow.
A 4 under. And so this is what an individual can bring to the world of sports when he's beloved. And he's been missed. And people didn't know how to say that they love Tiger and they miss Tiger. You know, it's like a relationship. You don't know what you have until it's gone. And all of a sudden, that girl came back, and it's like, God, I really missed you. I loved you.
Well, Big Z, the good old boys back in the day, I think it's Hall & Oates, they said, she's gone, she's gone, oh wow. I think they sing it better than me, but you get the point, Big Z. She's still going, she's not coming back, Big Z. But I think about Jimmy Walker, you know, doing his thing also. He had a 67 in 8 shot today, Tiger with a 68. I see Roy McIlroy, that good old boy, he's trying to swing the clubs too. Patrick Reed, you know, Justin Rose, there's a lot of guys, Zach Johnson. We know that players will flirt with the leader. And the thing that I love about what Tiger Woods has done, not only has he taken the advice of Big C Sports, Big C, you were saying what he should do, and it shows every person. I mean, let's think about this. This world, it really rewards the young people, the nouveau riche, the guys that are, you know, 22 years old, coming out of college. If you're Kentucky, one and done, 19 years old, coming out of college, Big C. But there's a lot of young people who have the world of opportunities ahead of them. But Tiger Woods, being 42 years old, what does that tell men who are, what, Phil Mickelson did his thing at 47, won his last tournament. It tells people that you can get up and do whatever you want to do if you can stay healthy. Of course, he may have some pain. The man went through 4 surgeries. But what's his message, Big T, to the guys in sports that when you're a football player, you're 32, they're saying, well, he's on his way out. Tiger Woods will probably win another 10 majors in the next 5 years or more, and he's going to do something that's never been done before when he gets over the 18 majors. What's it say to older people, Big C, about keep playing? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is what athletics is becoming these days, is that you can compete. If you keep your mind and your body strong together, is that you have an opportunity to be competitive. And, you know, Tiger has always been physically fit. He changed the dynamics of golf in every way. He changed the body structure. He changed the workout habits. Where, you know, you used to see John Daly and Greg Sadler type bodies on the tour all the time. You know,
you said John Daly type body. Hold on. This is that alternative fact? And there's nothing wrong with being plump, okay? But did you say tight body? Is that what you said, Big C?
I said type of body.
Oh, okay. I think you said tight body. I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't hear too well, Big C. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, these guys had that Dunlap disease.
Ain't nothing wrong with Dunlap. They could make good car tires.
They had to really bend over to see where the ball was. You know, because they could not keep that straight stance.
I've been there myself. We all can do that.
You know, that's what Tiger did for the game. You know, he brought the physicality into it. And so that's what has allowed him to prolong his career. I mean, even if you look at Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson now, if you look at him, he's about 25, 30 pounds lighter than he was a decade ago. Because he took on that Tiger regime, realizing I needed to get rid of this purge. I need to get rid of this, you know, these man boobs and all of that.
I understand.
And he did.
Yeah.
And so here it is. He won a tournament just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Being in his 40s. So this is where Tiger is. The body's always been there. The mind has always been there.
Yeah.
And he's been able to overcome these injuries. Being in a sport that's less demanding than football or basketball, it really helps.
Yeah.
But Tiger has revolutionized this game.
Yeah. I think that's important. And for the whole golf universe and people that are making money on it, at least you make money in golf, okay? You're not making any money in NCAA. And I heard something that I thought was very foolish, and maybe, we all say foolish things. I know I have my share of foolish things, Big C, but I think it was Calipari. And he said something about giving kids loans. They were asking everybody their solution for solving this problem of all the white coaches getting $1 million contracts and the black kids getting fined if they take $100 pair of tennis shoes. And Calipari said, let's give them a loan. Okay, number one, when you're in college, how you going to work and travel all over the country? That's number one. Number two, you don't have a job. So how you going to get a loan if you don't have a job? And then number three, why don't give the Calipari a loan instead of the millions of dollars that he's making? He didn't bring that up as a solution. Big for your thoughts?
Well, that's a different criteria. I need my money. I can't live on a scholarship.
Yeah.
You see my house? That's the power bill every month is what scholarship pays. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So, it's always different when somebody else is not getting the money. So it's easy to do these small things for students.
Yeah.
Because, as a coach, you got the house notes, you got to be able to fly around the country.
Yep.
You got to be able to entertain. Students, well, these athletes, they're not students. These rental players.
Nobody in class.
Yep. They're rental players because they got this thing going on called March Madness right now.
Yeah.
And I think this thing lasts 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, Charlton.
Yeah.
So the final 4 teams, when the hell are they going back to school?
They're not. They're not going back to school, Big C. And that's the thing. And I hope we can laugh at it and we can be flippant about it. But I think that not paying people is anathema to the free enterprise system. And people deserve to earn what they can make. And this whole talk about, well, how do we pay the tennis team and how do we pay the water polo team? There's something called the gate. And what they bring in, you can find a way that what they bring in, you can share with them the gate. Just like a top salesperson, a stockbroker, or a real estate agent. You don't all get the top dollar if you don't bring in the top sales. What's your value to that company or your value to that corporation? And people who say, well, it's too complicated, we don't want to do it right now. It's always too complicated when it comes to paying black people. It's always been that way. It's just the same old garbage. And I think if it's too complicated, a judge can put money into a trust and say, we're going to keep it complicated until everybody figures it out. And I know they can at least take half of the gate, Big C, and disperse that money among the people who helped them earn it. Big C, does that make any sense at all, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's complicated, okay? You got to learn how to do math. You got to learn how to add, subtract.
Yep.
And they have not learned how to subtract any of their money out of their pocket. That's the thing. They learned how to add it in.
Yeah.
So this is a one-way process. You got to look at the NCAA.
Yeah.
This is a one-way process.
Yeah.
The money's going in. The money's not coming back out.
Yeah.
Especially those who you feel are undeserving.
Yeah.
They're getting a scholarship.
Yep.
Be happy with it.
Yeah.
We give you a meal in the dining common.
Yep.
Be happy with it.
Be happy with it. Yeah.
We're going to throw you a T-shirt and a baseball cap.
Yep.
Be happy with it. But don't expect anything from that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh, you might be able to go out and sell it if we give you the right amount of stuff if you're at Ohio State.
Yeah. And the one thing you brought up too, how they say it's complicated paying black players, and let's just call it that, because that's a fact. I mean, a lot of the white kids that have played college ball, not all of them, but more of them than the black guys, come from some type of a middle-class family where even if they don't, they can meander back into society and they're accepted easier, and that's a fact. You can Google that too, way going back to the Kerner Commission. So the next time Calipari shows up at a black home and he's looking at the kid that they may not have, not making any stereotypes, but they may not have the same income level that the median white income level is in the country. You can Google that also. And now you want to strip these parents with a loan as you take their kid, and you're going to get free labor out of their kid, and you're going to get a multi-million-dollar contract, but you want them to get a loan that he has to make money to pay back. So what if he doesn't get drafted?
This loan, Charlton.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kid doesn't make the NBA.
Nope.
He ends up getting a 9-to-5 job eventually 3-4 years after attending the university.
At Toys R Us.
And, well, that just closed, so that's out the way.
Okay,
There's 32,000 people that are unemployed to go along with these college basketball players that are going to be unemployed.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an interest rate on this loan? Because if you get a loan, there has to be interest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're giving somebody money.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to put an interest. Got to be a contract there.
Yeah.
So what are the terms on payback?
Yeah.
How long? You know, if they default on 3 payments just like on a house, do you foreclose on?
They probably will.
And you got to take the kid back into college or what?
Yeah. So I think when you think about it, if that's the most he can come up with as a solution, let's give these poor black kids a loan. Maybe he has a connection with a bank, and I'm serious about that because people believe what comes out of everybody's mouth.
You make $7 million a year, you are a bank.
Oh, he is. Well, that's true, Big C. Maybe he's going to give them a loan, Big C. Now I understand. I tell you, sometimes I don't catch things right away. Maybe Calipari's going to give a loan to the kids that come to his school. But that's what they did with Ayton down in Arizona, and the coach got in trouble for that for about a day. Big C, I want to touch on the final thing before we close. We know one of the favorite sports in the history of the universe is the NBA basketball. It truly is fantastic. We have tonight some good games on tap. Toronto, they're the beast of the East. They're a 3.5-point favorite over Indiana. We have Charlotte, and they're a 4.5-point favorite over Atlanta. And I look at the fact that if you think about the Toronto Raptors, right now they're in the driver's seat. Boston's having a hard time winning. They're having a hard time holding on to games. They got hacked by Washington last night in Boston. And so I know it doesn't matter too much now because what matters is what happens in the playoffs. But not only is Toronto they got a 4-point lead now over Boston, and I don't know if Boston can make that comeback with such a short time. Then you have Miami, number 2 team out of the Southeast Division behind Washington, 2.5 games back. They lost to Sacramento last night. So the Eastern Conference is a little bit down, and then Indiana, you look at them, they only have 40 wins, so they're 10 games behind Toronto. Does Toronto have a dominant advantage? Because Cleveland right now is struggling too, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, they've played the most consistent basketball all year long. When you look at the Eastern Conference, Boston got off to a rocket start at the beginning of the season. They were 16-2.
Yeah.
And everybody said, "Oh, this is over with."
Yeah.
But as we've seen in the NBA, that great equalizer called injuries slows down any franchise.
Yeah.
And Boston ran into a couple of those hiccups slowed them down.
Yeah.
But Toronto played that consistent basketball. Everyone said that Cleveland, didn't have to worry about it. As soon as they got healthy, that they would be the beast of the East.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they traded everybody.
Yeah.
They're almost like the confused team of the East right now.
Yeah, they're like the Raiders.
They're trying to feel figured out.
Yeah, that's
Toronto. They've been quiet.
Yeah.
You don't even hear anything about them other than on our show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just chug right along, knocking off teams. They're getting separation in the East right now.
Yeah.
Where they're most likely going to win out and have the Eastern Division title.
Yeah.
Isn't that going to be interesting?
Yeah.
The home court advantage in the Eastern Division of the NBA is going to be north of the border, where President Trump just sat down and lied to the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
Talking about there was a trade deficit. And then he came around in a fundraiser talking about, I lied to him. I don't even know anything about trade. This is his base.
Yeah.
He finally stood up and said, and he got to realize, these damn false people holding up there got a recorder on them. And they recording what they say.
Yeah.
But he stood up and said, I lied to the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
I know nothing about trade. So where does that set us up in the rest of the world when we have our president says that I have to negotiate something or I got to do this.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you've told everybody that you're a liar and you know nothing about world policy.
Yeah. I listened to some the pundits. And what happened to Paul Ryan? Did he swallow canary? Where's Paul Ryan? I mean, they need to find him because he's obviously lost. He's not representing anything. And I know a lot of Republicans. They know they're gonna lose when they next need to vote. They already know that because a lot of even white people, I mean, a lot of my white brethren, even his base, are starting to turn on him because they know he's walked away from gun control. They know that all that bigotry, I know we still have racism, but I just got to say it's not as bad as it was 30, 40 years ago. I know we still have some residue around, but I think most people are decent. We still have pockets of ignorant people. We know that. They were just born that way. But most people are decent. And even a lot of people that thought he was going to make America great again, he flat out told them again, I lied to you guys. Not only did I lie to you, I lied to other countries as I'm trying to negotiate trade deals. And even dumb people realize when you lie to them. Bixie, that make any sense?
Well, Justin, the ignorant are the ignorant.
Yeah.
And this is that scenario. Is that, even you're thinking about in this fundraiser, the people that are sitting there that are dealing up thousands and thousands of dollars to sit up and listen to this buffoonery.
Yeah.
And he's lied to them and to get elected.
Yeah.
He's still lying.
Yeah.
But it's even more so about the policies that he's constantly trying to enact or not enact here in the U.S. He will not scrutinize the Russians.
Nope.
He is quiet. Matter of fact, there was a report came out today, Charlton, that there's a base in Afghanistan, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Or it's in Iraq. Take that back. It's in Iraq. And the base is an oil refinery. It's an oil refinery where the U.S. has their base.
Oh, really?
They were attacked a couple of weeks ago by Russian rebel fighters.
Yeah.
This is who they were attacked by. And they're led by number 2 in command over there, an oligarch from Russia.
Yeah.
Who's Putin's top guy.
Yeah.
And they attacked American forces. And it finally came out today, NBC News broke it. But the White House has never said anything about it, nor will they acknowledge it. They're saying it's a rogue group.
Yeah.
But they're Russians.
Yeah.
And they're attacking Americans in Iraq.
Yeah.
not the Taliban.
Yeah.
It's Russians that the Americans are fighting right now.
Yeah.
And they intercepted transmissions to know that it was Russians.
Yep.
As they were talking with this individual.
Isn't that
but
something?
When we sit around and we have a guy that's lying and leading our world, and he's telling everybody that he's a liar.
Yeah.
How much lower can we get as a country if we ever need the help from somebody?
Yeah.
As far as from intelligence,
Yep.
to trade, to just any international policy.
Yeah. And I think that's something that smart people have already known that, but even ignorant people can. I mean, you may not like the fact that you might have seen your wife at a carnival with another man, and she's all hugged up on him, and maybe she thought it was you because she couldn't see that well. It was dark anyway. But even a dumb man would say, you know what? That's not a good feeling when someone blatantly lies to you. You can pretend you didn't see it, but you know what you saw, you know what you heard. But see, I do want to touch on that. A few more things. I know in the NBA is really big, and I know the Houston, the Rockets, they're at home, and they're playing the LA Clippers tonight. They're an 11-point favorite. Chris Paul against his old team and Doc Rivers, and we know that the Houston right now they're number one, of course, but I don't feel it in my heart that they're number one. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Any chance of an upset against the Clippers coming in that are a desperate team, and I know that any team can be had on any given night. Does Houston at all with that 2-point loss column win or lead over Golden State? Do they slip a little bit, or do they keep putting on the gas? Keep their foot on the gas against the Clippers? Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, when you're a dominant team, you always look for the weaker opponent to establish yourself with.
Yeah.
And that's where you are if you're the Rockets. You're not going to succumb to the Clippers because that shows a sign of weakness. And so you're going to go out to keep pushing because this creates separation within the division also.
Yeah.
It's what it does. But Houston right now, the way D'Antonio has them playing, Charlton, they're most likely going to finish in first place in the West because of the injuries that are mounting up in in Oakland, or the Bay Area, the Warriors, whoever they are.
Yeah.
You got Curry with the sprained ankle.
Yeah.
You got Klay Thompson with the fractured right thumb.
Yeah.
So this is the team that has to get healthy. We talked about the health of NBA teams just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is that team that stayed healthy would be the team that runs through every division, Charlton.
Yeah.
We see that with the Raptors. We haven't heard any injuries in Toronto, although we probably don't have international calling, so that's probably the reason why we don't get any information from them.
Yeah.
But, we know that Houston is a local entity,
Yeah.
and we can dial them for free.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard any mishaps out of there. So that's the biggest difference when we look at these teams right now, Charlton.
Yeah.
They're on these rampant runs. Boston had injuries,
Yeah.
slowed them down. But these teams are moving that are healthy.
I tell you, Denver's a 7-point favorite over Detroit tonight. They're at home. Utah's favorite by 12 over Phoenix. Two important games. San Antonio Spurs at home, 3.5-point favorite over New Orleans. These two teams are talking about will they make the playoffs or not. It's a big push for both teams. And when you look at it, I mean, it's important. And I look at San Antonio, they're 38-30. We know Coach Pop is going to find a way to get them good old boys playing. And when you look at New Orleans, they're 39-28. So they're separated by a game and a half. That I know they might have a heavy heart for the Pelicans. Maybe they'll play better because of what happened with one of their owners down there and with Benson. And just give me your thoughts. San Antonio a little bit desperate. New Orleans a little bit sad. Big C, your thoughts.
Well, they're sad, but Anthony Davis is back, Charlton, and when he's in the lineup, they're really a great competitive team.
Yeah.
San Antonio, this is a team that's struggling to stay out of that eighth and final position for the playoffs in the West.
Yeah.
So right now they're number 7.
Yeah.
Aldridge has been out for a while. They haven't been able to get Leonard into the lineup. But once Davis comes back and he came back into the lineup a couple of days ago after that sprained ankle,
Yeah.
and right off the bat got a double-double. I see him still doing that tonight because Gasol cannot play or run with Davis, and so I give the advantage to the Pelicans.
Big C, final game. Portland Trailblazers. We've been saying since the Christmas break how great they are, and there's a lot of rain up in Portland, so they get to stay healthy. They get that fresh air they get to breathe. Damian Lillard and them good old boys. They're a 5-point favorite over Cleveland. You look at Portland in the Northwest Division in the Western Conference. They're the top dog at 41-26. I look at Cleveland. We know they've had their struggles and their injuries, and they're 39-28, and they're a half game out of the Central Division in the Eastern Conference. Damian Lillard, LeBron James, and whoever's behind those two is just a supporting cast. But I think Lillard has shown what we've talked about all year. He's a young kid from Oakland, played at Weber State, and he's a baller. If he were in a larger market, I think he'd be on par with what Curry's doing, especially over the last 2 seasons. He's really electrifying. I don't think there's any way that Cleveland stops that win streak for Portland. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about Portland, 10 consecutive games. And in NBA, it really doesn't matter whether you're in a large market or a small market. It's what the players recognize around the league.
Yeah.
They understand the greatness that you bring to the game every night, and they recognize that. And they know that this backcourt up in Portland is one of the top backcourts. It's just like in Toronto.
Yeah.
When you look at the backcourt there, just like in Houston and Golden State.
Yeah.
The teams right now that are dominating the NBA have superior backcourts.
Yeah.
Even Boston when they're healthy.
Yeah.
It's the backcourt. One of the things Cleveland has never had is a backcourt this year. They've gotten rid of everybody that has played in the backcourt.
Yeah.
And it's always LeBron. But right now, the NBA is being run by guards.
Yeah.
The big man is not the dominant entity in the NBA anymore, and it's quite evident up in Oakland.
Yeah.
And in Portland, when you think about this 10-game win streak,
Yeah.
you got a backcourt that's averaging over 50 points a game.
Yeah.
And so that's what has lifted them every night. You got your supporting cast that is following suit. But the teams right now that are dominating the NBA
Yeah.
are led by guards, and that's what Portland is doing.
Well, Big C, we know NBA basketball is fantastic. We have Tiger Woods doing his thing at the Arnold Palmer Open. Federer doing his thing down at Indian Wells. NBA action all over the United States. A lot of good old boys getting ready for baseball going through their spring training. But we know we love so much about sports and politics, and we hope that Trump will start telling the truth. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, I'm like the casual viewer right now. Everybody's happy that Tiger Woods is taking the night off. That way people can pay attention to the tennis that's going on in Indian Wells and the first round of the NCAA tournament. They don't have to compete with Tiger Woods tonight because you can't play golf after dark.
That's so true, Big C. And what you can also do after dark is every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. You can follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.